Following the events of the Avengers, the Winter Soldier had the task of grounding the MCU. They did this by setting the movie as a political thriller. Obviously, Marvel still had some trouble at keeping the superhero appeal, although the film succeeded at this spectacularly, as it grossed over $714 million worldwide and gained widespread critical acclaim. Seen as one of the MCU's strongest entries, the film revolutionized the franchise's storytelling and made superhero movies that could tackle complex political themes a reality.
What we wanted to deliver, and the Russo brothers have done a tremendous job in delivering this, is a movie unlike any other Marvel movie. It is tonally very, very different. It's got the humor, it's got the action, but at the same time, we see characters exploring their situations in a much deeper, richer way than we've done in the other films.
Welcome back to the watch list. Today we're diving into Captain America: The Winter Soldier. If you enjoy these reviews, consider leaving a like and subscribing to follow along as I cover every MCU movie leading up to Avengers Doomsday. As the first film in the MCU directed by the Russo brothers, it takes a sharp turn from the first Captain America, progressing from a World War II period piece into a conspiracy thriller that would end up being one of the most consequential movies within the MCU. The Winter Soldier follows an engaging story that caters not only to Marvel fans, but to a casual audience too. Within Act 1, Steve Rogers struggles to adapt to a modern society while working for S.H.I.E.L.D. The discovery of suspicious activities within the organization sets up the main conflict. Act 2 ramps up the tension as Steve goes on the run with Black Widow, uncovering layers of conspiracy while dealing with the emotional impact of the Winter Soldier's true identity. Act 3 ends with the explosive fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the conclusive confrontation between Steve and Bucky. The pacing is exceptional, balancing character moments, plot revelations, and action sequences without ever feeling rushed or dragged out. I remember my first time watching this and not wanting to pause it because of how hooked I was, and since then I've had a soft spot for political thrillers. The action in The Winter Soldier is hands down some of the best in the MCU. The fight scenes just feel raw and intense. The movie even kicks off with a suspenseful stealth mission on board a cargo ship, which becomes the catalyst event that uncovers the hidden agenda behind S.H.I.E.L.D. The highway fight with the Winter Soldier is an absolute standout. It's tense, fast-paced, and shows just how dangerous Bucky is. The elevator fight is just pure tactical brilliance from Cap, and it's impossible not to get hyped watching it. Then there's the helicarrier battle, which manages to balance epic scale with emotional stakes. Visually, the movie takes cues from classic 1970s political thrillers, with a darker, more serious tone that makes it stand out from earlier MCU films. The mix of practical effects and stunts adds an extra layer of realism that really holds up, even years later. Chris Evans absolutely nails it as Steve Rogers in this one. He brings out Cap's moral compass and inner struggles effortlessly, while also showing how tough it can be for Steve to fit into the modern world. Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow gets some solid screen time too. Her partnership with Cap feels natural and shows off how badass and resourceful she is. Sebastian Stan really steps up as the Winter Soldier. He's scary, he's tragic, and you can feel the weight of his connection to Steve in every scene they're in. Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce brings his old-school authority that makes the political thriller vibe of the movie even better. And of course, Anthony Mackie makes his debut as Sam Wilson / the Falcon. He and Chris Evans have instant chemistry, and it's awesome seeing Falcon step in as Cap's wingman, literally. The film's impact on the MCU was immense. The fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. created a shockwave that would resonate throughout the future movies and TV shows. The Winter Soldier's reveal as Bucky Barnes sets up crucial plot points for Civil War and beyond. The introduction of Sam Wilson becomes increasingly important as the MCU progresses, especially considering his future role in the franchise. The film also establishes the Russo brothers as key architects of the MCU's future, leading to their involvement in Civil War and the Infinity Saga's conclusion. It's also recently been announced that they're returning to direct Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, which is kind of what Marvel needs right now. The Winter Soldier used over 2,500 visual effects shots, with 900 of them dedicated to creating the helicarriers and their destruction sequence. Chris Evans performed many of his own stunts, training extensively in parkour and military combat techniques. The elevator fight scene took 3 days to film and involved extensive rehearsal to choreograph properly. The Russo brothers studied films like 3 Days of the Condor and The Parallax View for inspiration. The Winter Soldier's mask went through over 50 different design iterations before the final version was chosen. I'd give Captain America the Winter Soldier an A. It caught me off guard when I first watched this. I was expecting something more comic styled, similar to Avengers 2012. But the tone was much darker and realistic, which is what this movie needed. And it's what the character of Captain America thrives in. It had me on the edge of my seat throughout, and each of the character moments were just as gripping as the next. So what's your take? Does The Winter Soldier deserve all the hype it gets as one of Marvel's greatest hits? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The Winter Soldier truly changed the game for superhero movies. It showed everyone that you could mix these intense political thriller themes with superhero action, whilst tackling heavy topics like government spying and corruption. The way they handled Cap's character was especially noteworthy. Chris Evans brought so much depth to Steve Rogers in this one, as he solidifies himself within the time period. The movie made us think about who we should trust and what freedom actually costs in today's world, which, again, is pretty bold for a superhero film. This more serious approach left a lasting mark on Marvel movies. You can see its influence in films like Civil War and Black Panther, which weren't afraid to mix big action with serious themes. The Winter Soldier proved that Marvel could take risks and still succeed, and it's still the go-to example of how to make a smart superhero movie.